Now, let's take a look at how deception works in practice. You've got all these systems in your environment. You have endpoints in your user network, you have servers in your data center and server zones, and you have your DMZ, which houses your internet facing infrastructure. With Zscaler Deception, you can plant decoys of these IT systems right alongside them. You can add fake documents, credentials, and application layers on endpoints. You can have decoy workstations as well. In the server zone, you can add decoy servers and applications. And you can even add decoy users and computers to your Active Directory. And in the DMZ, you can create decoys of internet facing applications like VPN and internet apps that need to be remotely accessed. Now, when an attacker breaks into your environment, they have no idea what's real and what's fake. Your decoys turn into tripwires that alert you to adversary presence and you can cut them off immediately. Let's now see why deception is so effective as part of the Zero Trust Exchange. There are two key tenets of a Zero Trust network: users and applications. Adversaries leverage these in their attacks. They compromise users to find targets and escalate privileges, and then they use that access to move laterally to applications where they exfiltrate, destroy, or encrypt information. As part of a zero trust architecture, deception ring fences users and applications with decoys. On the user side, we've got layers on endpoints, decoy files, and decoy users in the Active Directory. And on the application side, we've got decoy servers, databases, and internal apps. These decoys have no real protection value and exist for the sole purpose of intercepting attacks. And since no one knows they exist and they are strategically planted in places where only an attacker would know, any interaction with a decoy is a high confidence indicator of a breach. It's highly unlikely for deception alerts to be false positives. And as part of the Zscaler Zero Trust Exchange, we've made it extremely simple to deploy deception. You don't need hardware or VMs to make any of this work. The Zscaler client connector installed on your endpoints will plant layers, decoy passwords, cookies, browser sessions, and files on your endpoints. This is what will detect compromised users. Then we've got Zscaler Private Access that hosts and manages application decoys. These decoys will detect lateral movement and privilege escalation activity. And because ZPA has all the contextual awareness of the deceptive environment, it can cut off the compromised endpoints as policy action when an attack is detected. And if you're thinking that creating decoys that are convincing enough for an attacker is going to take a lot of work, then don't worry. Zscaler Deception comes with over 300 decoy datasets for a variety of industries and use cases. We have all types of decoys, starting with simple web interfaces for perimeter deception to fully functioning applications and servers for lateral movement detection. Now, let's take a look at the actual solution and its various modules. What you see here on the screen is the Investigate dashboard. Everything in blue is a decoy, everything in red and the country flags are attackers. When you click on an attacker, it opens the Threat Parse panel. Threat Parse is an investigative feature that takes raw attack logs and reconstructs them into plain English. While you will still have access to the logs, Threat Parse makes it extremely easy to understand what the attacker did. When you click to view more details, you will get a description of the attack, examples of how it can be executed, mitigation measures, and the MITRE attack mapping. ThreatParse enables even the junior-most security analysts to figure out what's happening and decide the course of action. Next up is Orchestrate. This is the module that helps you configure rules that define actions to be taken on an alert. For example, we've created a rule here for dealing with attacks that have a risk score of more than 50. We've instructed this rule to notify a member of the SOC team and to cut off access using Zscaler Private Access whenever an attacker with a risk score of greater than 50 is detected. We also have a library of native third-party integrations with solutions like Carbon Black, Cisco, Checkpoint, CrowdStrike, and Microsoft. These can be configured for containment and response action as part of your SOC workflow. We then have Mirage Maker. This is where all the ready-made application datasets live. These datasets power the decoys. We have datasets for static applications, CVEs, dynamic applications, high interaction containers, and even datasets for SCADA applications and industrial control systems. You also have the ability to create your own datasets using our no-code dataset builder. And finally, Deceive is where you actually configure your deception. You can go to Landmine to configure deception on your endpoints via policy. All you have to do is create a new policy. Define on which endpoints you'd like this policy to be applied to and configure the use cases. You can set up the policy to detect attackers evading defenses by killing security processes or attackers executing more advanced attacks like PSExec, ransomware, and LDAP. Similarly, you can set up application decoys by heading over to Zero Trust Networks in the Deceive module. All you have to do is select the personality, meaning what application you like this decoy to behave like, select the network group you would like to place this decoy in, assign an IP range, and give it a host name. Once you hit submit, the decoy will be created. That's how simple it is to deploy decoys and operationalize your deception solution.